Hello everyone, it's Jefford again from Rubik's Academy. Alright, we are a platform that endorses causes from different trainers from different organizations. Okay, now today we are looking at another chart formation, which is basically we're looking at triangles. Okay, we're looking at triangles. Okay, so for those of you who are looking at this video series, beginners edition, it's important that you constantly revise. It's important that you constantly go back and look at the older videos if you have forgotten the previous concepts, because once I talk about it, I will not be talking about it again because it's already recorded. There's no need for me to repeat the same thing twice, unless repeating it in another manner, in another format would assist and facilitate in your understanding, then I will do it. Okay, just to be fair towards everyone. Now today we're talking about triangles. Okay, basically triangles is a chart formation that is formed from horizontal and slanted resistances and supports, or to put it in another way, it is formed from trend lines and supports / resistances. Okay, which means it looks like that. Okay, so you usually will have a trend line right here, right? Then prices will be moving, you know, around this range. Right? So this is what we call a trend line. This thing right here, we call it a trend line. Correct? Alright, very simple, very straightforward. Now, what if you can draw another trend line on top of this trend line? Okay? What does that mean? Okay? Let's say, for example, taking the same example, right? Taking the same example, maybe instead of moving like that, it decides to move like that instead. Okay. Okay, so imagine all these are candlesticks. I know it's badly drawn, but the point here is not, like I say, it's not an art class. Okay, so if let's say I can draw another trend line on top, how would it look like? It will look like that, right? Okay, and if you notice, what does this shape remind you of? It reminds you of a triangle, right? Just that this triangle is not an isosceles triangle, and this triangle is not pointing upwards, it's pointing to the right, but it's basically a triangle. It looks like that, right? So this is what we call a triangle. Okay, it's basically made up of two slanted lines, or it could be one slanted line with another horizontal line. Okay, now in this case, because it's made out of two slanted lines, we call it a symmetrical triangle. Okay, we call it a symmetrical triangle because both sides are squeezing in. So left is squeezing in, right is squeezing in. So their movement is symmetrical. That's why we call it a symmetrical triangle. Now, what if it's not a symmetrical triangle? Instead of having two trend lines, an upper trend line and a lower trend line, it could have one support, okay, and one downward slanting trend line. So what do we call this triangle? What is this triangle called? This triangle is called descending triangle. This is what we call a descending triangle. Okay, then what if, okay, what if now it's a resistance with an upwards slanting trend line? This one we call it an ascending triangle, because it's ascending upwards. One is descending, one is ascending. Okay, we call it an ascending triangle. Alright, so that is the three combinations that you have: a resistance with a trend line, a support with a trend line, and two trend lines. Okay, simple. Now, how would these triangles look on the chart? Let's go to the chart. So this is a chart I looked for a very long time before I found this. Okay, now very simple. First of all, you want to draw the support. So this is the support. The red dotted line is the support. Okay, next you want to draw the trend line. Okay, you want to draw the trend line. So this right here is a trend line. Now I'm going to put it in a different color. Let's put it in yellow. Okay, so you can see that this is the trend line over here. Now, obviously, you know by now, it didn't bounce back up to continue the triangle. Okay, instead it broke below the support, so it continued going downwards, which is good, because for a descending triangle, this is a descending triangle, right? It's coming downwards. It's a descending triangle. Okay, let me make it a bit bolder. Yeah, let me make it a bit bolder. Okay, it's a descending triangle. Okay, so whenever we have a descending triangle, it signifies what we call bearish bias, which means it signifies weakness, which means it signifies that a continuation of the downtrend is very possible, a breakout to the downside. If it's an ascending triangle, it signifies bullish bias, which means a breakout to the upside is very possible. Okay, so both sides are possible, just that different triangle formations have a bias towards a respective side depending on the side that you are taking. Alright, now what about a symmetrical triangle? Now a symmetrical triangle, as the name suggests, does not have a bias because it's symmetrical, so it could break out to either side, but we just know that there will be a breakout. We just don't know where the breakout will occur. It could be to the upside, it could be to the downside. We don't know. We do not know. Okay, that being said, can an ascending triangle have a breakout to the downside? Possible. Can a descending triangle have a breakout to the upside? Possible. Okay, remember, it's just a bias. It is not a certainty, and it is definitely not guaranteed. Okay, so that's it for triangles. Thank you very much. Okay, I hope you understood what I said. If you don't, just replay the video, pop your questions below, or you can subscribe to our full course on Udemy. Alright, that being said, another thing that